Hi, I am Donisa Walker. I am a LearningRx franchisee, but I am also a reading specialist and a dyslexia specialist wanting to share with you today reading referrals for clinicians. This is a good insight to see why you should refer to LearningRx and what is the value add for you. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to interacting with you. Pediatricians are often the first professional outside of school to be informed about a potential reading struggle. The feedback given at the annual well visit does well to reveal any attention, learning, or reading struggles going on at school or at home. The guidance provided by the referral coordinator as to next steps is absolutely critical for saving valuable time and money in getting the child what they truly need to address the root cause of the struggle. Our centers are contacted weekly by referral coordinators searching for the right referral path for suspected reading struggles or even dyslexia. We have learned by having many conversations with referral coordinators that there is a common confusion about this process regarding our cost, insurance coverage, and how long the process takes for patients. This video provides clarity on the key factors that referral coordinators need to know in order to make the best possible referral recommendations for each client. Did you know that evaluation services and learning and reading interventions are not covered by medical insurance? That is because it is not a recognized medical condition by medical insurance companies. The process of learning is also not solely based on good academic instruction or curriculum. That's because reading starts in the brain and not in the classroom. The step to identifying which weak cognitive skills are causing the problem and strengthening those skills is the only strategy that gets to the root cause of the reading struggle. As a referral coordinator, you must think about these three items for referrals. One, they can go to school and get evaluated. They can get an IEP, a reading tutor, even a science of reading compliant intervention such as LearningRx. You can refer out, but this process can be long and lengthy. One of our primary concerns is how much time do they have to close the reading gap? As children age, the reading gap gets larger and larger, but if we don't close that gap becomes years. Months can elapse between the time of the referral until the time of the student receiving the actual evaluation, and even many more months to years before they receive an intervention based on the evaluation process recommended to the client. The second concern is that there's a lot of out-of-pocket expense about what it will cost. Evaluation services can cost between $199 to upwards of thousands of dollars. And that depends on the organization that you're referring to and what the expectation of that referral looks like. The expected outcome of the intervention, whether that's just an evaluation or it's an intervention process, can take years for students to make a significant progress. But others, like LearningRx, can take only months. Here we have provided you a referral decision framework to do your triage. So you have some different options to look at. One, the type of school that the child attends, whether that's public or private, or whether they are homeschooled. So where would you go? If they're in a public school setting, most likely you would refer them back to their base school where there is not a lot of cost necessarily attained to the evaluation process, but the timeline is the stricture there because it can take weeks, months, or even years for them to get an accommodation plan or an IEP, an IAP, where they reduce the grade level expectations in order to make the child have more effectiveness. Secondly, no matter if they're in a public, private, or homeschool, you could refer them out to a psychologist. And you're talking upwards of thousands of dollars and right now months more than likely to be able to get the evaluation done and then to be able to get a comprehensive report with a label and a clinical diagnosis that would give them a basis for a support plan. And that diagnosis and intervention and recommendation would then be sent to other specialists for intervention. Your third option is for anyone, whether they be public, private, or homeschool, they can be referred to LearningRx. Our cost of our assessments right now are $299, and they can be seen for an evaluation within 1 to 2 weeks. They will be provided with qualitative and quantitative reading results showing skill levels, age equivalency, etc. And there will be measured and qualitative and quantitative results in the reading skill with gains in the outcome, because not only are we able to do an evaluation to see where their skills are, but we are also able to do the intervention so that process can be a seamless process. Reading relies on a strong foundation of cognitive skills. LearningRx is different as we train the cognitive skills and the reading. So if you look at the core cognitive skills of memory, processing speed, attention, visual and auditory processing, and reasoning, these are your core foundational skills, and cracks in this foundation can affect the phonological awareness, the phonemic awareness, how they learn the phonics and decoding. The speed can affect the fluency, the vocabulary, and the comprehension. So if your foundational skills are weak, reading can be a challenge no matter what the diagnosis. We measured the cognitive performance of these children before and after brain training referenced in this chart, and we saw the biggest results in sound and phonological awareness, specifically 5.4 years in sound awareness. While we cannot guarantee the same gains for every single child, as results are dependent upon each child as they go through our program, this is an average that is based on over 2,700 students, and in LearningRx has over 17 peer-reviewed published studies in reference to our ability to change the brain through brain training. One of the biggest reasons to refer is because of LearningRx retention results. The really exciting thing is we have tested over 2,000 clients 16 months after finishing LearningRx on average, and they retain 97% of the gains that they made. While your child may or may not achieve those same results, we're really excited that we have seen this time over time. For a little more about LearningRx, feel free to click on the link below or use the QR code to review our research results and client outcomes. Our programs are based on 35 plus years of testing, research, and practice with past LearningRx clients, and our research results and client outcome reports includes brain training results from over 27,000 LearningRx graduates collected over a 13-year period. These results include outcomes for children and adults, including clients with learning differences. LearningRx does have over 17 peer-reviewed studies and 12 studies presented at scientific conferences. For more referral information, refer to the postcard that you were mailed, or you may contact your local LearningRx center by going to www.learningrx.com and putting in your current zip code. We look forward to you referring clients out, and just so you know, if there's not a LearningRx center in your area, they are still available as we train virtually. Please feel free to reach out to us, and we look forward to connecting with you. We appreciate your time today, and if you wish to stay tuned, there will be more information presented as we continue. Have you ever wondered why some kids learn to read easily while others of seemingly strong intelligence struggle mightily? The reality is that some kids' brains are more naturally attuned to learn to read due to how their brain processes sounds and images. A student's cognitive skills determine how quickly and easily they will learn. Schools and teachers are not responsible for how a student processes the information in their brain for reading. A student's cognitive skills provide the foundation for reading and learning. Teacher instruction builds upon this foundation to develop reading and learning proficiency. That's because reading starts in the brain and not in the classroom. Even with the introduction of 504s, IEPs, and accommodations in special education, reading proficiency has not dramatically improved over the last 30 years. Why is this? Reading proficiency declined significantly during school closures in 2020 and 2021. Many students lost ground and never recovered. The number of students struggling with reading is greater than ever, and you must be seeing this among your own patients. This is a picture of the nation's report card from 2022, and you can see that the progress has been stagnant. So what is the science of reading after all? What we have learned is reading is complicated. As you can see, there are so many skills involved. Reading and comprehension don't happen in a vacuum. They involve the whole brain. An enormous amount of research has been published in the last 50 years about how children learn to read, and the summation of this research is called science of reading. In short, all of this research has been made clear that most kids who struggle to learn to read lack foundational skills in how their brains process the sounds of language into words. To remediate and get these students back on track requires a deliberate and systematic approach. As a referral coordinator, you may think about 3 items for referral: go to school and get evaluate, compensation, these types of things. So these 3 approaches remain. Compensate. Is a student applying themselves? Do they need to just work harder and have the information repeated over and over, hoping it will stick and get more and more work with tutors? Should we accommodate and work around the weakness and struggle by creating a support plan? This is a never-ending approach that involves possible medical and medication support, an IEP or 504 plan, and may include altering the learning environment, reduce the learning goals, incorporate other teaching tools and technology tools, pull out separate testing areas, extra time, scribing, voice-to-text technology. Or we could identify and correct the weakness. We could identify which weak skills are causing the struggle and strengthen those skills. This is the only way to get to the root cause of the struggle. So let's dive into the model of processing new and known information. First of all, when we have information that's put in, that the teachers provide the input and the information for reading, we must be paying attention. Where there are 3 types of attention: sustained, where we pay attention in the classroom; selective, where we have to choose to ignore the distractions; and divided, where we must multitask. And these are reliant on other skills, such as how quickly our brain processes information and our working memory, which allows us to use the information and to encode and bring it back and forth out of our long-term memory. This set of skills is called automatic processors. It's where we do what we do without thinking, where the word automatically is encoded, recalled, and creates a visual memory as we go about it. Once we come across words, language, letters, information that we're unfamiliar with, we must decide, is that information that we know and we can just spit that information out, or is this a new word? Is this a new concept? Does it have a different meaning, such as the word hot, which has 37 different meanings? Then we go up into the logic and reasoning. And in logic and reasoning, we sit there and we spin our problem-solving ability and decide, was that hot sauce because it was warm, or was it hot because it was spicy? We move into that auditory processor where we process the language of the word hot, and we create visual imagery so that we comprehend the process of what we're doing. And then we encode that into our long-term memory schema or our knowledge bank so that we can put that out in our writing and our spelling, in our drawing, in our speaking, in our testing, because it is this output that teachers measure for reading. Reading relies on a strong foundation of cognitive skills. LearningRx is different as we train the cognitive skills and the reading. The LearningRx program is a one-on-one multisensory structured literacy program delivered through a brain training approach. According to the science of reading, a structured literacy approach to reading instruction is aligned with what we know about how the brain learns to read. Structured literacy programs include explicit systematic teaching that focuses on phonological awareness, word recognition, phonics and decoding, spelling, and syntax at the sentence and paragraph level. What sets LearningRx apart from other structured literacy and reading interventions is the focus on building those strong core cognitive skills first, because they are the foundation for all learning. Based on the science of reading and the Cattell-Horn-Carroll theory of cognition, the LearningRx reading program includes explicit and systematic instruction in phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. To our knowledge, we are the only reading program that trains phonemic awareness and phonics, along with memory, processing speed, visual processing, attention, and reasoning skills. That's why LearningRx is an amazing program. This is another way for you to look at the decision tree. You may pursue path 1, path 2, or both simultaneously. Path 1 is an accommodation, and this does require a diagnosis. So then you would need to decide for the child whether they were in public school and needed to be referred back to the base school where they could get a free cost assessment, or if they're at a private school that can be either referred to the public domain or to a psychologist where they can self-pay. And this can involve comprehensive reports that basically give a diagnosis and give reduced expectations for life to the student. The second intervention plan of action, which could also come after the diagnosis or without a diagnosis, because many are denied the diagnosis. No diagnosis is required. This applies to both public, private, and homeschooled students. It's an easy intervention plan of action because all you do is refer to LearningRx. They come in at a self-pay of $2.99 with a referral discount of $50 off because you referred them, and typically we can get them seen within 1 week with a direct report back to you as the physician, and you will have qualitative and quantitative results showing skill levels. This measured quantitative and qualitative outcome has an average reading skill gain of many years.